Hey Derek, good evening. Sure does. Sure does feel like just minutes ago, doesn't it? It's like this total expansion, but then also at the same time, it's starting to really feel like the practice is just a consistent ball rolling through the days, which I guess is nice. Yeah, definitely, Ari. What have you guys been up to? I know Derek, you say you've been going on some great walks during the day. What's everybody been up to? What have you guys been doing? I'm sure some of you are still working. There's a lot of people working from home, which is great. I noticed a lot of people recently feeling like they need to change up their geographic. We're about 40 days into this stay at home, and those of you and us that have taken that in pretty deeply as a practice, we've really only gone out if we've gone out for groceries or to check on the studio. But even in the last several weeks, we've done more of the delivery of the groceries. So we're grateful for those folks, of course, and people keeping our child supply with a toy on Amazon. Learning Spanish, nice. But yeah, if you're starting to feel that, oh, I gotta change my geographic, then that's the exact moment to go into a deeper mode of stillness and practice and ground yourself even more. And when you're starting to feel that. And what's everybody feeling in their body? Anything feeling tight? I think at this point we're pretty darn open. Doing, I think this is going to be the 62nd class. You have this quarantine period since March 16th. And I would emphasize that it's not important as to how many classes we've done. It's the quality of the experiences while you're in the classes. But as I've been in tracking your minds all to engage consistency in the ritual of the practice as a framework, I think it's very helpful and to acknowledge all that you've been through and everything that you've practiced with along the way up to this point, and so that you can invite yourself and to be as open as you possibly can for this practice tonight. hope you guys can see the experience or inside the experience of the detox classes that there's even some more style that can take place. You notice some of the practices where you're engaging or holding a part of your body in place, and versus the ones where you're really just in releasing and you're not holding on in any way. And so there's style within the style, and still not enforcing strength. You're like pulling in, but sometimes in using a part of your body and to connect to another part of your body, and so that it kind of draws you into the experience of the shape. I didn't mention this during the practice last night, but now practicing in the garden in the evening, I think there was a solid 5 critters, spiders, insects, things crawling over me at different points of the practice. And just make yourself at one with the earth and the elements, which is what was actually drawing up some of those memories from my teacher training in Brazil that I was talking about. So, hi Sherry, good evening. Roz, good evening. So we've got Los Angeles, we've got Chicago, and we've got New York. We are hitting the major hubs in this beautiful country. Right when all this was really starting to hit, and we were actually up in Park City, and there was a moment where the Dr. Fauci came on and blatantly to the interviewer said, "If it was me, I wouldn't get on an airplane right now." So I was like, "Well, if I mean this is the guy, if he wouldn't get on an airplane, then why would I?" So we decided to drive back from Park City, and it took us a couple days, but we got to stop along the way and see one of the beautiful places, one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen in this country, Zion National Park. And I'm not a huge fan of, rolling and driving through the mountains. Being from Chicago, it's pretty flat. So I really dislike when you're driving and there's the rim, wrapping around the mountains. So we're cruising into the national park and it's just getting higher and higher, and then I'm on the edge, and then I'm in a tunnel. But all of that to say, it was a deep practice with a rich reward of the beauty that our eyes and our hearts were able to experience and to see. And then we drove all the way through the park, and there's this incredible, really just out there in nowhere. Um, it was kind of like these little cottages on a farm, and we stayed there for a night and before getting back in the car and driving all the way back to LA. But that was, seems like a year ago. That was, remember, because we were there, and it was probably March 15th, I believe. I guess you never know where you're going to go, where you're going to be. All right, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and start the playlist on the earbuds. If you're live streaming from Spotify, or if you're streaming from Spotify, go ahead and start your playlist now. Hi, Frankie. Hey, so welcome to our space. Welcome to our home. And when I say home, talked about this. You notice this train of thought, or kind of the yoga life philosophy is going to thread itself from a flow into a detox back into a flow. It might hop over a flow and go detox to detox. But when I say welcome to our home, right? Welcome to the temple and the relationship that you're building with the temple of your body. Inside becomes our home. This facility, an environment of, our yard and what we call our house. It's not really ours. It's a facility. It's, something tangible. And I can touch it. I could see it. But it's not mine. So that inner depth and relationship, and that you're exploring, body as a temple. And let's go ahead and start on our backs tonight. I'll meet you in Shavasana. If you've got your props and your blankets and your blocks, if you want to have something underneath your head, that's always an option. And for you in Shavasana, it creates a little bit more space. If your shoulders and your neck tend to hold on to a lot of tightness, elevate the head a little bit. And here's the beauty of detox, and there's so much in space and the expansion of time that if you do something and it doesn't work out, you don't have to move quickly and say, oh my gosh, I totally messed that up. Like, it doesn't move that fast. And so you draw your mind, and this repetition of drawing your mind and through the mindful adjustment, and you can start to really reduce the amount of anxiety that is flowing into your actions. And so make yourself a little bit more comfortable. You rest your arms, rest your legs, and close your eyes, and go home, go inside. And you feel the breath as it whistles through your body. And if you've ever been somewhere where the wind is blowing fairly strongly and it's cutting through the trees, and that type of sound, and you feel that in your breath, in your body. Notice the relaxation and the stillness. And take your feet a little bit wider, and so that your heels even go off of your mat. And then let's take the right ankle all the way across over the left ankle. And once you get your ankles crossed, and I hope you feel some kind of sensation to your outer right hip flexor. And notice you don't have to engage. The ankles will kind of lock themselves in place. And keep your shoulders heavy. It might feel good to release in a deep exhale. And soften the belly, soften the chin. And close the eyes here as you move towards the beautiful practice of stillness. 40 days in, everybody, and I haven't even brought up the practice of silence yet. We're going to do something really cool with silence at some point in the future. And for now, let's continue to head in the direction to learn from the teacher of stillness. And I'm so glad you're all here in the practice tonight because, out of everybody else in the world, the only person that's going to know that they're practicing more and they're carving out more space and they're taking more time for their practice is the being that is lying on the mat right now. And it's the only person that needs to know. I hope it feels like you all found some kind of secret sauce, something that adds a flavor into your life, into your existence, and that you really didn't know up to this point. And what that means and how it's translated is totally up to you. This practice, or myself, or anybody sharing this practice with you is not here to tell you how to live your life or what that sauce might taste like. But if you feel it, sit with that. With a very soft focus, feeling down to your outer right hip flexor. And take 3 deeper breaths. And expand the breath into that space of your body. And to release, it might feel good just to slide your right heel up your left shin a little bit first. Okay, and then go ahead and uncross your right leg. You might feel this adjusting all the way through your low back and your spine and your sacrum. You resettle back in your Shavasana and with your legs at least mat width apart. And close the eyes and trace the sensations through your hips laterally. Any feelings in from 3 inches below your belly button into the center of your become more in touch with what you're feeling while you're actually feeling it. And it's so cool, everybody, as a practice, and to sit with what is, and to allow your mind to actually figure out what is versus what was or what we want it to be. Keep your right leg where it is. Let's bring your left ankle and cross your right. And as you slide the ankles together, they should hold themselves in place. And keep your shoulders heavy. When we talk about what is, and it's drawing your awareness through your five senses, and this is what creates reality. And this is how your mind defines reality. And everybody in this practice right now, we all have a different reality. And life's not about convincing somebody else in what your reality is and then debating what their reality is. Reality keeps you in check. And if you can accept it, with gratitude, there's a lot of peace. You'll feel a lot of pressure and disbanded, letting go. It's pretty chill. It's totally fine. You may feel this side more or less. Either way, it's totally fine. And to be with your stillness, to be with your breath, and to be with your mind, and to be in your temple, and at the same time, and realizing that you're connected into everybody in this practice tonight. Soft focus and awareness to your outer left hip. Take 3 deeper breaths. And it might feel nice to slide your left heel up your right shin. And then go ahead and uncross your left ankle. And take both legs back out in Shavasana. If you have something under your head, and please take that out and set it along your side. And feel the release in your neck and your shoulders. It's okay to wiggle your jaw a little bit from side to side. Feel your tongue release. And close your eyes and then feel what it's like to fall into the back of your heart. If you trust the back of your heart, and you can also release a lot of anxiety from your belly. Good. Let's come into a supported bridge pose. Bend your legs so that your feet are flat and about hip width, and then whatever objects you have, and we're going to lift the hips and then slide them underneath your sacrum and supporting your hips. So elevate. And if you do have a yoga block, there's 3 heights to the yoga block. And you can choose any of the 3 heights. And slide in underneath your sacrum. And adjust your shoulders if you need to. And so there's no crunchiness in the back of your neck. If your hips are too high, it's too intense at the start, and then just start your objects a little bit lower. And then you can always build it back up later. And you should almost be able to feel the pulsing and the heartbeat in your sacrum. And you're welcome to keep your legs bent. Or you can explore letting your legs and slide out onto the mat. You're not forcing straight legs, but as you go in that direction and feel your body get it set up, and then begin to relax as you feel the waves of your exhale. And let your body release here. What you may be realizing through your practice on your mat into your life, and that it is so much easier to move around and than it is to be still. I mean, the moments that are confronting, those are real. But feel good about confronting anything comes to your conscious mind during your practice. You're safe, you're supported, you're building a deeper relationship of trust, commitment without conditions, unconditional love, and from the inside out. You keep everything where it is, besides your arms, and slowly, through the feeling from your heart and through your chest into your arms, begin to reach them up towards the sky. And you can either keep your arms right there, or in slow motion, you can start to bring your arms over your head. You go slow, you might feel a little bit more for the last 30 seconds or so. And so much stress that we hold on to in our psoas muscles, and connecting your low back through your inner thigh. And take it slow without gripping. Bring one arm down and then the other. And feel your shoulders on the mat and then start to bend one leg followed by the other. And feel your feet on the ground. And put a little weight into your feet and to draw your hips off of any objects you have underneath you. And then go really slow, everybody. Use your legs to strengthen. And then you're bringing your hips down one vertebra at a time so that your tailbone touches last. You want to feel every vertebra of your spine, through your middle back, and top of your lumbar spine, your lower back, and flattening your low back and feeling a flush through your kidneys, and then all the way down to your sacrum, and softness in the soles of your feet. As you land, set your feet a little bit wider and let your knees fall in towards each other. Be with this space right here, right now. Let's give our low back some space and to continue to soften. So scoot your hips to the right a little bit. And go ahead and roll towards your left hip. As you come around, make your way into a child's pose. In child's pose with your knees a little bit closer, and you can put some padding underneath your knees, underneath your ankles, in between your heels and your hips. So the knees don't have to be all the way together, and just closer, more like inner hip width distance apart. And then creating a rounded spine. Let your hips come down first. And slide your left hand forward a little bit. And then take your right arm behind your left armpit. And you don't even have to turn the head. You can, but you can just let the weight of the upper body and the head and come over your right arm. And soften. And close the eyes and retreat here. And the retreat could just mean going inside and feeling less attached into the outside or to what I was describing as the external influence. Other people, it could also be the story and the relationship that you have with your house and your things. You're letting that go as soon as you travel inward. All you got to do is acknowledge it and be honest with yourself. It can be hard some nights to sit still. We had a great question this afternoon on the Yoga Life chat. What do I do with my monkey mind? In the mind that is jumping all over the place. You embrace it. You build a relationship with it like it's your best friend. You don't judge it and try to push it away. Let it continue to be with you. And soften around it, and then eventually that softness will penetrate into whatever parts of your mind are jumpy. And you'll be fully present. And for that moment of realization, the yoga, the union, when it becomes clear to you. And please stay as low as you can. We're just going to switch sides. And so you're not lifting up, and just slide your right arm out. And slide the right hand forward. And then bring your left hand across your mat behind your right armpit. And let your torso and your head get heavy once again. And coming down towards your mat.
Even a patient person gets into this practice and says, I thought I was patient. I find myself learning a whole nother layer of patience. Once you begin to actually slow down, and you'll be able to see all the gifts that are being given. But a lot of times people aren't even good at receiving gifts. We feel like we have to haven't given something first or give something back in return. Actually, you can just receive the gifts as they come to you. And keep your head low. Begin to slide your left arm back out. And slide your left hand forward. And then begin to slide both forearms forward on your mat. And you let your hips come off of your heels until they're stacked on top of your knees. And then once your hips get there, let your tailbone lift, your belly drop. And let the weight come down through your armpits and rest your forehead onto the mat, please. And this transition specifically, they might be sending some odd ends through your mind, things you weren't expecting. And to think about tonight, here are things that you haven't thought about in a long time. And let's go all the way through. Start to bring your chest forward. And you can release your hips down onto the mat. And separate your knees as wide as you would like. And to release the hips, stay on your elbows. And support with your forearms. And relax your jaw, let your head be heavy. If you take a deep breath and acknowledge any stress into the release around your front body from your navel to your sternum. If it really feels good to have your hips down, your bum soft, and you can slide your hands back and lift your elbows off the mat.
And turning your elbows in, shoulders down. And the arms do not have to go straight. If you want them straight, slide your hands forward a little bit. And then find the position where you can sit in the stillness and release the resistance. And chin down, jaw soft. And keep your elbows in, head of your shoulders down. And you could always be on your elbows. You don't have to be elevated with your arms. We got one more minute here. If you are elevated on your arms, it can feel nice to open up your mouth and stick out your tongue and take a lion's breath. And keep turning your elbows in as you begin to make your way back down onto your forearms. And should have quite the feeling or feelings going through your sacrum and your low back. Turn your elbows out and stack your palms, and then rest your forehead on the back of one of your hands. And adjust your feet, bring your big toes together, and let your heels fall apart. You realize the connection of your forehead to your top hand to release and relax all the muscles on your face. And keep your forehead where it is. Curl your right heel in towards your bum. And feel your right thigh spread into the mat. And then you can just lift your head enough to take your right hand back and connect to your ankle or your shin. And let your left arm be your pillow, and bring your forehead back down towards the ground. And feel and observe the peace and the spaciousness of the breaths. As you can use the belly resting on your mat. And to notice how far you've come and through this practice up until this point.
Go softly, go slowly, and let your right leg slide out of your hand. And bring your right arm underneath your head for a pillow. And curl your left heel in. And reach back with your left hand. And fully accepting of one side feeling different than the other. And connect the hand and then bring your forehead. Let your hips spread. And feel the weight of your belly into your mat. And connect so deeply here tonight. And let it go very slowly so your left ankle slides through your hand. And then bring your left arm back forward. And tuck both of your hands underneath your shoulders beside your chest. And a little draw with your belly as you start to press your way up. And you should feel your low back and around your sacrum as you take your hips back a little bit. And slide your hips out to the right. And slide your hips out to the left. And shoulders down, you can move your head around. And keep it slow, but anything in that intuitively feels good right now. And then start to bring your knees in a little bit closer towards your hands. And sit back onto your feet, on your shins. And slide your hands onto your thighs. Curl your fingertips in. And so your knuckles are on the top of your thighs. And offer your heart to the sky. And shoulders down. And chest up, gaze lift, stay here. If you can't even close your eyes here,
Don't be surprised if the sacrum pops or you get a little cracked, soft belly. And start to lean forward. And let your belly roll over your fists. And chest over your knees. And forehead down towards the ground. And with your knuckles tucked in between your thighs and your belly. And close the eyes. And as slow as you can, one vertebra at a time. And begin to roll yourself back up. And feel the air come into your belly and the release of the pressure with your eyes closed. And stack your spine, palms face down on your thighs. You might feel like you're hovering off of your mat right now. You might feel like the silhouette and the shape of your torso has grown 3 times. As wide, as tall. And pay attention to what you're feeling right now. And begin to slouch in your seat. Let your chin go towards your chest. And feel that slouch. And shoulders down. And then the resurgence, and roll your left shoulder back and down. And roll your right shoulder back and down. And soften the eyes out in front of you. Take your hands back behind or beside your feet. And hips on your heels. And tailbone forward. And take it slow. You might still be getting a lot of sensation around your sacrum and your low back. And the hips stay down. The back of your heart can roll up. And then we can draw our gaze all the way up towards the sky. Gently draw your chin back and closer to your chest. Belly in. And start to roll the weight back into your fingers. And bring the hands back onto your thighs. And take a breath in here as you open your mouth. Exhale, release all the air from your body. And soften your gaze down, rock onto your left hip. And turn to face the side edge of your mat, seated. And once you're seated, bring the soles of your feet together. And then your knees can spread apart. And let the feet slide away from you a little bit. Rock your sitting bones side to side. Walk them back. And then slide the arms underneath the legs. And so your elbow crease tucks in behind your knees. And turn your palms to face up. And relax your belly and let your head hang heavy here, please. And really feeling all of this from the epicenter of your sacrum, the triangular bone at the base of your spine tonight. No worries if you have some out there thoughts or things that have come up for you tonight that you weren't expecting or you haven't seen in a while. No surprise. And start to bring your arms back out from underneath your legs. And keep your legs in the shape. Rest your hands onto your shins. Shoulders down. Lift the back of your heart up. Keep your eyes heavy. Relax the tongue inside of your mouth. feel all the energy moving through your spine. And from your hips into your low back, your middle spine, between your shoulders, and above your shoulders into your neck. And take all that energy with you. You can slowly make your way onto your back. And lie down flat. And release your legs, release your arms. If you have something and you'd like to cover your eyes, please go ahead and cover your eyes. And welcome home, everybody. And let's vow to ourselves this evening that when the pace of our world begins to pick up again, that this practice and this ritual of practice will remain. That what we've scratched the surface of, and what we're tapping into with our practice is more meaningful, and even more special. Into not only showing us what's real, but inviting us into live with the peace inside of ourselves. And I want to salute all of our mothers this evening for the gift that they've given us to be here on this earth. And the beauty that they were able to develop and give us life, give us breath, and gave us our body, and gave us our beautiful mind. And so a very special thank you to all of our mothers this evening. May you explore more peace, more openness, and deeper realization of home inside of yourself. And from this practice in our hearts into the expansion of all hearts, and the oneness of our community, the oneness of our world. And I thank you all so much for being here tonight, and for sharing this practice and continuing to arrive on your mat. And may you celebrate in lightness and ease this evening into a beautiful sleep. And I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow morning in our 10 a.m. flow. If you need anything, please reach out and continue to connect and support one another. And have a beautiful night, everybody. Namaste.